Welcome back to the Diary of a Single Mom. My name is Marin Sheikh Hussein. Thank you so much for the new subscribers and everybody who's decided to join our channel here, the Diary of a Single Mom, where we will be speaking about my single motherhood journey, my divorce story, the most favorite Somalia story. I see so many people have watched it, and many more things, educational theories, childhood theories. There are so many plans that I have for this channel. So thank you all so much, all you lovely sisters and brothers who have decided to join this channel. I really appreciate it. It's much appreciated. Thank you so much. Today's story time slash when I went to Sweden and some of my experiences with Quran Sar, depression, and how that went down. And then later on towards my divorce story, I haven't highlighted some parts of the story, especially the Somalia story, because there was so much to talk about. And I feel like I've missed out on so many funny parts, especially when after we got off the plane, literally we drove from Hargeysa to Bosaaso. So, as you guys remember, the plane was absolutely crazy. There were three ladies sitting on the floor when Sheikh Sana, and they were like, I be like, plane was like, woo. It was hot. I was sweating. We just came from Dubai and it was amazing. Dubai was absolutely beautiful as usual. So you can understand how surprised I must have been being on this plane. My mom was happy because she was going to see her husband. It was absolutely shambles. Like everything was all over the place. So the plane was supposed to land in Bur'a. However, I don't know, the plane guy announced all of a sudden that he's stopping at Hargeysa. And I was like, what the? I've never seen a plane changing their destination. That probably might happen, but I just haven't seen it. We get off at Hargeysa. People are speaking in a accent that I don't understand. My Somali was already not that good. My understanding of Somali was quite good, but my speech wasn't very good. We get stopped and they take our passports. Oh, they say, oh, let me have a look. So they look at the passports and they put them away. And I'm just like, what? My mom's like, give me my passport back. They're like, Maya, what did he say again? For you to get your passport back. And I don't remember exactly what he said to her, but she needed to pay $250. If you lot don't know, my mom's like a gangster. Like, you don't get on the wrong side of my mom. So she was like, what are you? And then they were saying something I couldn't understand. I remember just looking at them and just saying, what are they saying? Because their accent is different from like Hamar accent, or, you know, even Bosaaso. We're going to get to there because I absolutely used to have no idea what they were saying until I finally like assimilated into the environment. And I'm a very fast learner, guys. So they said, $1 came. My mom had to give that money. We got our passports back. And then we found a driver because my mom's never been to Hargeysa at this point. So she was just like, where are we going to go? What hotel are we going to check into? And there was this guy in this car. They used to call it a market, I think. It's a car where it's like quite a big old looking car. And then the back bit has loads of space. We didn't know that people were actually going to sit in the boot. So we're going to get to that. I've never seen people sitting in the boot before. He was like, okay, I can take you. I'm going to take you to the nearest hotel. My mom was like, okay. We are driving to the hotel and we go past the shop. Me and my sister, we have loads of snacks from Dubai. We're sitting down, we're eating our snacks with our fat selves. Like, we're just like eating the snacks. And obviously we seemed quite bigger than a lot of the people that don't have like a lot of resources at home. And I'm not saying all Somalis are poor, but we did see a few poor people on the way. There was this young, I think 5-year-old looking girl, and she was so frail and so small and so skinny. And we were sitting at the back seat of the car waiting for the guy because he was going to the shop quickly, I think, to get himself some cigarettes or something. And we were sitting there, and then our window was a little bit down because it was hot. And a young girl came and she got her hand out, and I remember her saying, "Wah isiya." And me and my sister was like, like crying. We said, subhanallah, where's her parents? Where's her parents? And then we basically gave her all of our snacks. So we don't have any snacks now. We were like, where's her parents? Oh my God, subhanallah, some people living like this? And obviously, when he was driving us to the hotel, just bear in mind that this was kind of like some small little town. So it didn't look like it was like well built or anything. After that, he got back in the car and he started driving us. And he took us to this dingy ass hotel. I thought I was going to go to this nice hotel. This guy, literally, he took us to this hotel and he didn't even look like a hotel. It looked like this big house with a whole, like you walk down and then there's loads of rooms everywhere. He was like, hotel Yasmina. He was like, there wasn't any other hotels available. And then we went into that hotel and my mom was like, subhanallah, like this is crazy. right? So we go and we go into our room. And then I remember there was this guy sitting on the floor and he was chewing qad. Like I just remember him chewing qad. Like, and the qad looked so green. Like I've never seen such fresh qad in my life. You know, just looking at him and he was just biting on these green leaves. We go into our room, we sit down, and this little short guy comes in through the door and he's like, okay, what do you lot want to eat? And my mom was like, brisa rawa, hilba rawa. I was like, I'm not gonna eat from this place. At this time, bear in mind, we have no snacks. My mom basically ordered some bris and hilib. He brought it in and then she told me to taste some and it tasted, I'm sorry, it just didn't taste nice. So I was like, I'm not going to eat this. And my mom, she ate some of it and then she left it. We were in that room and then we started crying and my mom cried as well. And later when we get to Bosaaso, she's going to deny it and blame it on all of us. She's going to be like, my mom was acting tough, but I was like, Mom, you cried as well. She literally changed up as soon as we got to her family Bosaaso. She changed up. Like, so we were crying together. We were all hugging each other. And we were all crying. Me and my sister weren't really affectionate with each other, but at this time, like I said in my last video, me and my sister basically developed a really close relationship. Like we used to be so close in secondary school and stuff, but we used to fight a lot. So me and my sister going to secondary school, I remember we used to have these little MP3 things. I know I'm old, guys. We used to have these little MP3 things. We didn't have an iPhone back then. And we used to download songs into that MP3. So my sister would give me one earpod, like one ear thing, and she would have another headphone and we would just listen to songs like, you know, Beyonce, Rihanna, all of that stuff. My sister, we started gaining a really close relationship. The night time comes and we're about to go to sleep. The whole night, all I'm hearing is meow, like cats were fighting with each other. Like cats were literally fighting. You could hear it at the top, like the ceiling, I think it was made of like this metal thing, I don't know, because it was quite an old looking place, and the cats, they were fighting and like they were just falling down and like fighting each other. If you think Maxwell the cat is crazy, wallahi, these cats were nuts. These cats were just another ball game. So they were fighting each other, the cats. You'd hear the guy that was chewing, he was still chewing there in the middle of the night and he was, you know, talking to himself. I was terrified, so I didn't sleep the whole night. My sister wasn't sleeping as well. Me and my sister basically made a deal that she would sleep and I would watch, and then I would sleep and she would watch. Because I was thinking, I don't know what's going to happen to us in this place. Like we could get hurt by people, right? This is my first time in Somalia. I've never seen like nolol or like, you know, sana amala. So I was scared. I was like, what if someone comes into our room and tries to hurt us? Also, when I tried to go to the toilet, there was no running water at this point. I don't know how the water just, they turned off the water or something, but there was no running water. I came in, we were just crying. When it was time for me to go to sleep, my sister hid some snacks from Dubai and she was eating it. So she never even told me that she had snacks, and she would later tell me, boss. Also, she'd be like, Maureen, you know that day, yeah, when like we were hungry and we were in that hotel Yasmin, and I was like, yeah, and she was like, you know, I had snacks, you know. So when it was my shift and you were sleeping, I ate the snacks. I was like, oh my gosh, what a hazard. Anyways, it was Fajr time, and the driver told us in the nighttime, he told my mom before we went to sleep that he was going to start driving us to Bosaaso after Fajr. So it was Fajr, we heard the adhan, we came out, and the guy's still chewing there, by the way, still chewing his life away. He's chewing his life away. Like, it's proper chewing. So we get in the car. Okay, so we're preparing to get in the car so that this guy can drive us to Bosaaso from Hargeysa. So I didn't sleep properly. My sister ate all the snacks and hid it from me, like the Qumaya she is. I'm joking. It was Fajr. You could hear the adhan. And I remember just thinking, oh, so beautiful. SubhanAllah, very beautiful. The guy was still sitting there chewing qad kisi. Literally, he was just chilling, sitting there, chewing his qad. He was talking to himself. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Then we went over to the market, the big car, his car. It was quite an old car, you know, but the back part of it, the boot, is quite open. So it's like you can put things in there. You can put boxes in there. But I didn't know that two men were actually going to sit at the boot. And then what happened was we get in the car, me, my mom and my sister, we sit on the 3-seater part of the car. Other men come, about 4 of them. 2 of them sit in one of the front seats, basically, which is meant for one, but 2 of them sit together and they're really slim, so they can both fit in. and two other men sit at the back of the car, and basically they're chewing qad as well, but they look like they're in their mid-20s or something. And then a lady came and knocked, and we put the window down, and she was just like, oh, like, can I get in as well? The guy was like, "استرقية ناقتها صفر يستي أيضا محل ميشان واجينا ياي أيضا ميلا جينو ياي." And my mom was like, there's no space. Like, she was just saying to him, I think I'm haka qalban. She was like, "Aniga wa no jeda inta la ignahay." My mom was like, we're chubby in it, so there's no space. So we end up leaving the lady. He started driving the car, driving past these, I don't know what to call it, but it was like open spaces, so fields, and it was absolutely stunning, right? It was very dry areas, but it was absolutely gorgeous. There were cliffs, I saw monkeys, like a herd of monkeys. I've never seen monkeys before in my whole life, so this was my first time. I saw monkeys, like a herd of monkeys going somewhere, and it was this completely isolated open space. There were these beautiful cliffs. There was this one cliff that I looked at, and I was like, because it had like a facial expression, and the cliff was like this. It looked like a person doing this. And I thought it was just me. But when I turned around to look at my sister was like, and I started laughing. And basically, yeah, the drive was pretty long. So I think all in all, it took us about 2.5 days to get to Bosaaso, because we had to take breaks in between. And obviously the driver needed to take breaks. If we didn't take breaks, it would have taken about 21 hours. I checked online. However, it took us about 2.5 days. So we stopped at this hotel, I remember, and it didn't look as bad as the first hotel. We went to sleep. Alhamdulillah, I actually fell asleep this time. And then we got back in the car again when it was like Fajr time. So when it was like the second night, that's when we finally started to talk to the people that were in the car with us. Because the first day it was like silent, completely silent. No one was speaking to each other. It was pretty awkward. Like mom says, awkward. My mom says awkward. She can't say awkward, so she's just like awkward when she finds something awkward. Awkward. And we were basically, my mom started speaking to them. She was like, oh, habarir, inte usu'utin idinka. The guys at the back chewing was just like, oh, one of them was like, I'm going to see the love of my life. Basically, she's a single mom now. We were together, and then she got married, basically, and all of this. And we were like, oh, okay. And then the guy who was sitting next to him started talking about his like this scary story. Basically, he was just like, oh, I made friends with a jinn one time. And we were like, what? And he said, "Turba la ciyaari jiray, wiilasha till the night." So he said he used to play cards with his friends in the night, and he would walk home by himself. It was completely dark, and on the side there was this young man who was standing underneath this one lamppost. He said there was one street light. This young man standing under there. The guy came, the young man approached him, and they got to know each other. And then he said, after that, every single night when I'll play turub and I would walk past that road, I would see the same man standing under the lamppost, and he would walk me home. And then basically he said in the end, he found out that this was actually not a person, it was a jinn. By this time, we're driving past these desolate areas, completely empty spaces with cliffs, and it's dark. So I was like, you better move, because I was like, the two skinny men that were sitting on the front seat, they didn't really have much to say. So I don't even remember their story, because I don't think it was interesting to me. We drive. Everyone's sweating. It's hot. I can't lie to you. The car's smelling funky. The guys at the back, their eyes are like literally this big. And also, I remember we kept on getting stopped by these askar. I think they were like soldiers or askar men that would stop you at like this checkpoint thing. And basically, they would have guns, and I was terrified. They had guns. Their eyes were like this big, because they've been chewing as well, like red, yellow eyes, big. And they had these guns, and they would stop us. And basically, you had to pay them a little bit of money to get through. So that was pretty scary. But anyways, we get to Bosaaso. So guys, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a part 1 and part 2 of this story, because it's pretty, like, I don't have much time. I need to go pick up my daughters from after school club. I will do a part 2 on this. But it was just an interesting experience. I will never forget that, especially when we were driving past this boor called Boor Sheikh, Boor Sheikh, or something like that. It's basically this big like cliff or hill, or whatever it is, and it looks like a mountainy type of thing, and you have to drive around it basically to get from A to B. Like, it was absolutely scary. It was huge, and we were driving around it. It was just so scary. But yeah, I'm going to do a part 1 and part 2, because I'm only telling you bits and pieces of things that I've missed about my Somalia story. So, anyways, we get to Bosaaso. That's the first time I see my uncle. It was quite awkward at first because I've never met him before, but he ended up becoming a catalyst to a lot of the reasons, like a lot of my changes. Like he's a big part of my life. I just feel like that was the first time I actually saw a real Somali like man, because he's so good to his wife. He's so gentle. He's so kind, and he's extremely intelligent as well. It was amazing to see my uncle. I saw my brothers again, guys. Let's not forget that they look crazy. My brothers were looking nuts. Literally, they were like their teeth were out. They had big forehead. I was like, how could I, you know? They looked crazy. And yeah, I saw a few other people there as well, like my Habri Royal and all of this. But yeah, we already spoke about this part, so let's skip to the next. Yeah, so I was asked a question specifically about my marriage. Like, why did you get married to him? Because I don't think I stated in the previous video why I got married. I wouldn't say I have a specific answer for that, because when I was 18, before we came to Somalia, I feel like I was in a very bad place in my life. And when I got to know this person, I asked my uncle about him. He said he's a good guy, because uncle knows he was working for my uncle. And I literally, it was so quick, we ended up getting married. And still till this day is like, if I think back about that, the only thing that I can amount it to is the fact that I was quite immature. I wasn't in a great place. So I would say the romanticization of marriage has been a part of that. So what we think love is, and what we think romance is, and all of this, which has been fed by us through years and years and years of media indoctrination, all of that. I feel like those things put together, and because he was sweet talking me and all of this stuff, I feel like I was quite naive, and I fell into getting married to this person, even though I had a really close friend in Somalia as well. And he was friends with my brothers. He was a really cool guy. He also came from, Europe, somewhere in Europe. We got along. Like, he was staying at my uncle's house. He was a troublemaker, but we really got along, and I actually found out that this person was very interested in me. I feel like that person could have probably been a bit more compatible with me. However, I feel like a lot of the trauma that I was feeling, and the difficulty and the hardships that I was feeling, I was thinking, because this guy is older than me, he'll be a good husband to me. There's a Somali quote that says, "Bena lagu hargeliya, runa lagu dhaqdaa." And yeah, this is what it was. So that's what happened. There weren't many red flags until after I got married, because someone else asked, weren't there red flags already there? No, there weren't many red flags until I actually got married. And when you're sweet talking her, lie to her, and when you get married to her, tell her the truth. Show her who you really are. Show her your real face. Any advice that I would give to a young girl who is thinking of getting married is, know this person very well. Make sure you have close connection to your to your family, to your parents. I wouldn't say I was really close to my parents either, like in terms of emotional connection, and that kind of probably played a part. No, I absolutely love my parents. I just feel like a lot of Somali parents from the old generation don't really know how to connect to their children. And now we're learning about things like parenting, healing journey. I'm still on the journey. Do you know what I mean? You're never going to be a perfect parent, but I feel like that also played a part. After basically I got married to this person, that's when I started showing, like, my mental health just started getting really, really, really bad, to the point where I just I just felt really sad all the time. And it increased because as his abuse started escalating, again, I started feeling not good enough, this, but thankfully, because he was away from me for a lot of the time, it didn't impact me the way that it could have if he lived with me for a long time. Because I feel like, genuinely, if this guy lived with me for a long term, I think I would have been, wallahi, destroyed. But alhamdulillah, it's because of Allah that none of that happened. So in the next video, actually, let me tell you something quickly, because there was this amazing AA that I had. Ilaha na Harista, she's not alive anymore, but she had dementia, right? And she would literally chase us around the house with a stick. When we went to Armo, that time when I went to Armo and I was sick, remember when I told you that I got sick and my uncle took me to Armo? That grandma was there, come to us, and she used to be like, Niloy, Niho, Niloy. She would call us BITCHs out of nowhere. Like, literally, she would cuss us, And she was so forgetful. Like, one minute she's kind to you, next minute she's like, all around the streets, everyone knows what what a filthy little girl you are. And we would be like, hey, yo, like, you know, and she'd be like, I need, hey. One time she was even like, so you're shining of like, I don't want to say the word, but basically she used to cuss us, me and the shakala, me and the maid, like she used to cuss us, like. But one time we went to Tarawih. By the time we came back, my ayeyo basically had all the mattresses outside that we were sleeping on. Yeah, she laid it all outside, and she had this bag of clothes on her back, and she was basically saying that she's going on a trip, and we all need to get ready, and we're going on a trip. And we all was like, ayeyo, like, oh my gosh, like she was so funny. Like she even thought my little brother was her son. He wasn't alive at the time, right? So she thought that my little brother Liban was her son. Liban used to do is he used to put on like the Islamic clothing, and he would have the ilmamat at the top of his head, and he would just come to her and she would be like, Kali will K so funny, so, and tell her daughter, she would be like, make him tea, make him breakfast. Oh, my son, how are you? And my brother was such a silly boy. Yeah, he was like 13 or something. He was such an idiot. And he would get like samboos and shah and all of this because her daughter couldn't say no. But that ayeyo, I'll never forget her as well. Like she was just so funny, and she was so amazing. Wallahi. But anyways, guys, this is where my video is going to end. For part 2 of the next video, I'm going to speak about a lot of the things regarding to my mental health when I went back to Sweden and I got Quran Sar. So please make sure you tune in and you look around for that. Anyways, bye.